Hey, it's Mel with the Screencasting Wizard, helping you digitize your knowledge to get it online and web ready. And today, I want to tell you about how I track video assets across different stages of a production workflow by using Trello.com. Trello.com is a free website that I use to track different things, actually. There's different types of projects that I have. For instance, I manage a lot of different videos that might be at any point in time in different stages of production. You know, they get planned, they get recorded, they get edited, they get rendered. So those are all different stages of production. But I also use them for other types of projects as well. And I want to show you three types of projects that I use this for. So here's Trello.com. You can go to their website. It's Trello.com. So here's essentially some of the different structures that I have. So within Trello.com, there's basically three types of structures. So you have three, maybe four. So you have an organization, so that's kind of the highest level. Within an organization, you can create what are called boards. And then a board might be associated with a project, for instance, right? And then within a board, you have what's called lists, okay? And each list might be set up as a stage of production, but it can also be a calendar item as well. Okay, and then within each list you have what are called cards, and card you might think of as a specific task or specific topic area. So here's, for instance, how I manage a video production workflow for a project I'm doing right now. And so the way I have, here's the board that I have within this organization, and then within this board I have these different lists. So there's plan, there's script, there's audios done, videos captured, videos edited, and videos rendered, okay? So each one of those is a list, and within each list you have these individual areas that are called cards. Now these cards can be dragged and dropped over real easily, so you can basically take each task or each video. In this particular project, each card represents a video title. So what I do is essentially, let's say I've got a planned video here, which is video blog on how to use Trello.com, right? So that might be this topic here. So that might be in a planned stage and be sitting there for a long time. And then once I'm done with this video, you know, since I'm not really scripting and there's not going to be the audio is being done at the same time and I'm shooting and capturing the video, so I might just take this, I might just take this card when I'm done with this video and just move it over to the video captured column, okay? And then I can also adjust what the priorities are by basically taking, you know, maybe decrementing the priority and putting it down to the bottom of the list, so those at the top have the highest priority on what gets done next. But because I want to move that along pretty quickly with this, I might just move this up to the top. So that way, once I'm done with this video and I go to my Starbucks office with my little latte, then I can then edit the video and get it done over there and then move it over to the edited column. Meanwhile, some of the other stages I have in production mode is once it's done, it's edited, then I might put it on pause for a little, might want to hold it for a little bit and not actually render it, because some of you know that rendering video is kind of a time-consuming process. You basically tie up your computer for a long time. So I might just come back to that and go back and edit another video or take time to go capture another video. So this friend of mine, Felicia, has been waiting on a webinar to get edited, so I might go back and work on that, increment the priority on that, and once it's done being edited, I can then bump it over to the edited column. But in terms of rendering, I might still give this blog post a priority, so that stays at the top. And once it's done rendered, I can just click and drag it on over to the next stage of production, until such a time then it gets optimized and it's ready for upload. And then when I finally get the URL or the embed code and I put it in the website, it gets finalized and categorized as done. So that's one way I track all of the different videos I have in the production queue at any given point, and any of them can be in any different stage of a production. This helps me track which video titles are in which stages of production. The other thing you can do with each of these too, by the way, is if you work in a project team, you can invite some of your project members to be part of this particular board, and then they can also make contributions as well and update their status. So for instance, in this video title that we were just talking about, where the video blog, I can click in there, and any of my friends or my teammates can go in here and comment on activities. So for instance, some of them might be in the position of being tasked to transcribe the video title and so on while I continue to do the edit. So they might give me a status update through the activities list here. But the other thing too is there's this labels where you can also then customize some color-coded labels and so on. Now, for some projects, and I'll show you a project here shortly where these labels might be used as, I don't know, you might use these labels as production stages of a production workflow. But in this particular case, since I've actually already identified the production workflows as individual lists within the board, what I might instead use this label for in this case is I just basically use it to identify which titles are being blocked. In other words, blocked from completion, because I might be waiting on somebody else to complete some task, right? So for instance, this one, if I'm waiting for somebody to transcribe it and I can't really finish the optimization or upload it or anything like that because I want to wait to get the transcription back so I can upload them all both at the same time, then I might then click in here and label it as blocked, and then that way at a glance I can see which of my video titles are still need some attention. So that's one way I use this to just kind of manage different video titles in different stages of production throughout a production workflow. Now, another way I might also use this, and I'll show you, here's a course I'm creating right now that you already heard about, the Digital Know-How course. I know a lot of you have already contacted me. You're waiting for the course to get done. It's almost done. I'm almost there. But basically, here's how I'm tracking that right now. All right, so here, instead of the cards, instead of the list, each of these vertical columns is a list with cards in them, and the cards are basically the video titles. Instead of using the list as a stage of production, in this case, I've identified them as chapter breakdowns, all right? So in that sense, these things only get moved around only if I decide that a particular title should be better in another chapter or something like that. So in this case, it is kind of critical or helpful for me to be able to use the color-coded labels to indicate what stage of production they're in. So for instance, this particular one down here, or let's take a look at this one over here. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, the different stages of production I've identified is in progress, recorded, edited, rendered, uploaded, and then blue is displayed and done. It means it's on the website and so on, okay? So a lot of these are actually already done. I just need to change them, and changing them basically just requires clicking, editing the label, and then clicking the next stage and say that's displayed and done, and then that gets updated and so on, okay? So that's another way I use this. Finally, the third way I want to show you that I typically use this, that you might also do, is for blog topics. So here's one for my Screencasting Wizard blog calendar. So for instance, in February, for this, I've got, instead of using the lists now as vertical as stages of production or chapter titles, now I'm basically using the lists as calendar weeks. So each week, for instance, in February might have a series of titles, and typically I publish maybe 1 to 4 titles in a week and so on. So for this week, I created the using Bento to manage my video assets, which was a previous video right before this one here. All right, and that got done, and you can see where I'm using the vertical lists as weeks in the calendar, and then basically I use the labels again as just a really simple, whether it's in progress or whether it's done. So it's almost like a stage of production, but it's a much simpler stage of production there, right? It's either I'm either working on it or I'm not. All right, and then to the left, I might have one that is ideas or scheduled. So at any point in time, you might put new ideas that you might come up with for a future blog article, and you might say, doggy cam. You're attaching a camera to a dog, and then just kind of following it around what it does, and then you might put that on there as a title, and maybe it comes up in a priority, but I don't know. This one might actually be a little bit lower in priority. I might not actually get to this one, so I'll just put it at the bottom of the list. But it at least gives you a bin where you can put some different ideas, and if you have some ideas about that, some notes that you want to take, you can click into it and put either activities or give a description of the card and expound on kind of an outline of what you want to talk about there. And by the way, you can also attach checklists to these things as well and put due dates to them, or even attach files and so forth, okay? So that's another way I use this to manage these blog articles. And as a matter of fact, you can see here in week 4, for this particular week, I've got using Trello for blog calendaring, okay? So there's that blog title. I can now click into that. And by the way, if I decide that I want to do something else, like this outtakes for contracts and fee schedules, then I can decrement this and maybe move this up in priority a little bit. Or if I decide that I'm not going to have time to get all 4 of these done this week, I might then take one of these and move it over to a subsequent week and take care of it there. All right, so it's as easy to kind of do some of the planning. This is for blog articles that I might be looking to write in the coming week. But since this one's actually done, I'm going to increment this because this is the Trello blog article. I'll click in here, edit the title. It's actually in progress because I'm recording it as we speak. And then once I'm done with this, you can see it's labeled now green. So at a glance, I can see what's done and what's in progress and so on. This one is actually done. So I'm going to go ahead and label that as done. And you can see now that that updates the color code, and I can see at a glance which titles are already done and posted and so forth. All right, so what I'm going to do now is after I'm done with this video, I'm going to go to my Starbucks office and I'm going to finish this blog post and have it online for you to take a look at. All right, hope that helps. That's Trello.com. Use it to track your projects. Hope it helps. This is Mel with the Screencasting Wizard, helping you digitize your knowledge to get it online, web ready. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.